These last couple of days, I've been a little bit conflicted with PvP. On one hand, this is easily the best PvP patch that I've played since launch, but on the other hand, the sheer amount of issues, bug, server stability going on can turn a very fun fight into one where you are raging instantly, and there's a bunch of things that are going into that. And again, it's tough because, like, for example, the changes to light armor on paper, I actually fully agree with and really like the direction they want to go in with that. Prior to this patch, people just literally did not die. It was the roly-poly meta, and it was really tough to catch anybody. So I actually really welcome any changes like this to where you have to be actively thinking about what change you want to make. But on the other side of that, if anybody happens to be cutting a tree on any server, then good luck playing the game. There's just so many things that, like, when you read the patch notes and look at them on paper, it is a very good thing. But then when you play the game, it can be a different story. One of the things that has been very interesting this patch to kind of experience is fights with healers. Now, last patch, not only did just nobody die, but especially healers and anybody they were healing in their group essentially just did not die. So fights became very stalematy very quickly once a healer was present in the fight, and you essentially had to have a couple of people stun lock and coordinate a ridiculous amount of damage to get through the fortifies of healers to be able to kill them. But with the amount of damage that everybody is doing this patch, healers and healer fights are just different in general. As you have seen in the background, we're gonna have two little fights that I'm gonna kind of go over today that function very differently, but are possible because of the damage that we're able to do this patch. We have a medium armor spear player and a medium healer. Light healers, it is a different story, but medium healers are still very tanky, it feels. But as you can have been kind of seeing in the background, this is a pretty tough fight to get through either of them just because of how tanky they are. And basically, what my goal here is to try and switch DPS. I'm trying to get the burst heal out of the healer and not die like that. We get caught by a sweep and almost go down there by the spear. We're trying to do a good job. We avoid that javelin there, but by switching my target that I'm attacking, I can try to get that burst heal out of one of them or on one of them, and then try to switch my aggression back to the other target. Now, when the targets are tanky, but killing a tanky target is already a tough thing to do, but it becomes even tougher in this situation. Now, thankfully, there's only one DPS, so this is a really good fight for me to actually practice and get an idea of how to take these fights. But that is one thing that I've been noticing has been very effective, is to try to switch DPS instead of just trying to hard focus down one target. Now, I'm just out in the open, not really using any line of sight, so eventually you can see even this life staff has just been chunking me. The spear player does have a musket, but the majority of the damage that I've been taking in this fight has just been from the life staff. And that just goes to show you how light armor feels right now. But we managed to get a flesh in and land a parry onto the healer there. But I believe she has a couple of pieces of freedom on, so she pretty quickly breaks out of that, and we aren't able to follow up. But she doesn't restore her health. We follow up again with another flesh, and you can see right there, you can find windows of opportunity to land burst. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and try my hardest to go ahead and finish off the spear player before she respawns and comes back. I land the parry on the volt kick, and then I'm able to avoid the javelin, so I'm able to keep my aggression up with that rapier. And you saw the fortifies from that life staff really make a difference. With that healer not just constantly topping this player up, it's only a matter of time until you succumb to the rapier aggression, and just in time as that healer does show right back up. But yeah, these types of fights are going to be the ones that are very interesting to play in, because it was getting to the point last patch where if I was in any sort of outnumbered fight and there was a healer present, I would pretty much just piece out of there because that was a fight that you had pretty much zero chance to win solo. But that definitely is not the case now, which is pretty interesting and welcome to see from my perspective. But we have another fight here in another POI, and we are in the buggiest place in Brimstone if you have not been here yet. But there is 2 greens. His partner's going to show up here in a second. And I try to go ahead and see if I can finish out this healer and put in enough damage to finish him off before his partner shows up, because I know there is another one. But he does get the Void Ultimate to proc, and he keeps himself healed up there, and his partner does jump off the top. So I'm going to go ahead and see if I can kind of kite these guys and pull them out of this POI, just to give myself a little bit of breathing room and not get caught by the slow from the Scorpions. But you see, we line up a pretty good amount of damage on the healer there. I'm trying to follow it up. You see, I put in a pretty decent amount. I feint the Incinerate there, dodge the sweep, and looks like we're not able to get the healer, or the healer isn't able to get its heal topped off. The Scorpions there also give me a little bit of backup to buy me a little bit of time, and we managed to take out the healer there, which would have been a just ridiculous task to do last patch. But it's just the damage that's available now. We jump on as the Scorpions are kind of just putting a ton of damage into the both of us. Very, very low, as we both kind of just retreat from the Scorpions and try to get a second to get a heal off. But you see the healer does respawn at a camp there. And I'm going to go ahead and see if we can try to burst one again. If I can get one low and then get a kill, we will maybe be able to finish off both targets. The Scorpions are kind of being a pest, so I'm going to see if I can just de-aggro them here. And you see they're kind of dealing with some Scorpions of their own. But we're going to go ahead and see if we can line up another fight here. One of the players is pretty low from one of the Scorpions. So I'm going to go ahead and see if I can find a opportunity there. We flush through the tents, and I am pretty much just getting body blocked by the Scorpions. It would probably be just an easier time for me to like just wait for it to go down. But we burn out through the healer there. I use my Incinerate. We do a little bit of damage. One of the Scorpions is about to go down there, and the healer seems to be trying to keep the aggression onto us here. They're both pretty much fully buffed up, so I know I'm not going to be doing any damage with this Fire Staff with all those fortifies. So I'm going to go ahead and decide to burn out here and see if I can make something happen with the Rapier. We're just going to go ahead and avoid and look for what they open up with. I find the sweep there. We managed to land the parry on the sweep. I know for sure that I wasn't going to be able to roll dodge upwards, uphill, and get behind that player there, but we managed to land a fat Incinerate. He walks right into the Incinerate, and we finish off the DPS right there, catching him really, really off guard there. Just a really, really large amount of burst damage, and we're able to follow it up with the Rapier before he is able to realize. But with both of them now going down once, they're both on guard, and they're probably not going to let that happen again. We pop the Stolen Form there as I'm starting to get a little bit low, and I don't want to get stunned by the spear and get killed. It looks like another player does end up showing here, and we get a little bit of assistance. So we're going to see if we can try to go ahead and coordinate our damage with this other yellow and find one of the targets to burst down. I am taking a lot of pressure though, so it's hard for me to keep an eye on who he's attacking. But right as I get a second to breathe, I look at him and he has both of them on him. He's doing a pretty good job of keeping himself alive, and I pretty much overextend to try to aid him before I even heal up myself, and I almost get myself killed there. We go ahead and flesh through to try to avoid the pressure from that spear player. It looks like the healer is low. He's putting in some pretty good damage, but the healer is doing a good job of keeping them both topped up here. We do a little evade around that parry there just to avoid the stun. Put in a lot of damage to the DPS. You see both of us immediately pounce on that opportunity to try to get the kill. But we get caught in the grasping vines and taken out there. Beautiful, beautiful healing there by that healer. To go from being able to DPS out both targets by myself in a 2v1 to not being able to kill either one in a 2v2 is why this patch has been so fun, because the damage, although while definitely frustrating and something we have to get used to, it allows for fights to be so much more dynamic like that instead of so much more stalemate like they used to be in the past. But that combined with this beautiful zone that we got The fact that I can actually get my world PvP in, that's why this patch feels so fun for me. Doing things like this, where I'm going to be on all of my builds that I've designed for this purpose, is all I'm going to be doing. I'm at the west wall on my ice build, and I had already known this green Zerg was here. I was just hoping that they wouldn't run into me, but they finally find me, and we end up getting the entire army onto us. I go ahead and pop my Stormform so I can at least get away from them freely and not get CC'd by anything. We jump over the edge there, evade the first shockwave, dodge the second one, and make it past them up the stairs. There is quite a few greens here, so I know that I can probably split them up because there's going to be a lot of them talking if they're in comms. So I go ahead, we do get swept there, but I put in a lot of damage back onto this great sword player as he tries to finish us off, and we turn the aggression. And as I mentioned, we split up the main Zerg from the players who decided to chase up the stairs there. And we managed to find the kill. We are left to a tank. He does pop the detonate. We jump into the entomb at the last second there just to avoid that damage. Barely make it in time and survive with our life. But we are left to a heavy armor tank, it looks like. So I'm going to go ahead and take my time. As long as I don't do anything crazy, we shouldn't get killed by him. But you see, as I mentioned, we end up getting caught by one stun and poked one time by the NPC, and we almost die right there. But we are going to go ahead and just see if we can finish him up before the rest of the Zerg gets word that we are causing a menace. We put in a bit of damage. We do get caught by the shield bash though, and we jump out, land the riposte on the shockwave, avoid the secondary follow-up from that hammer there, and just going ahead, dancing around him here. Gonna go ahead and jump into our tomb just to regenerate a little bit of our health, just to make sure if we make any mistakes we don't go down. But we throw out the ice storm, and I'm able to finish him off there. I know I say it every single video almost, but I have to I can literally, I don't think I'm ever gonna get tired of fights like this. Just the dynamic nature of open world fights is what's so fun to me. But we managed to escape with our life and take out a couple of targets with us there. And then additionally, the other type of PvP that I didn't really care for, and it wasn't a new world thing, it was just most games. I didn't really care for duels or 1v1s because, again, of how stalematey it was. It was just, we're both going to roly-poly around until one of us makes a mistake and then dies. But now there's actually thinking involved with 1v1s. That's why the majority of the PvP that I've been uploading since Brimstone has been 1v1s. But we have another one here against a Blunderbuss Void Gauntlet player. We open up with the Great Sword and chunk him and just almost finish him out right away. We space out the Grasp, and I see if I can finish out the kill here. But this is a fight that has been one that was definitely one of my least favorites to do. I try to Relentless Rush to follow up there, but he throws down a perfectly timed Ice Shower and catches us in it there. We are a little bit lower, but I'm pretty confident with the ability to block his Blunderbuss with our Great Sword to just take a nice little slow approach here. But we go ahead and open up with the Rapier and flush towards him, and you see me evade backwards there as I'm trying to read either a Claw Shot or a Scream. I was trying to bait out one of his CCs there, but he doesn't throw anything. Does throw out the Spike there though, and just barely misses us. But we top ourselves back up, and we just go back to neutral here. I'm going to go ahead and see if I can find an opportunity to switch to defensive stance. He does throw out the barbed shot or the net shot there, so we know that that is on cooldown. So I again switch to the Rapier, open up with Flesh, we switch to the Great Sword, land the Skywards, we have him rended up. Expecting the ice wall this time, we just barely avoid it, and then I Relentless Rush around that wall and try to see if I can follow up the kill. We jump over the Spike, and we're doing a really good job of avoiding a lot of these staggers and CC here. But we finally find our way in with the second Flesh there, and then we finish him off with the Skyward. Duels like that, there's just so much more thinking that has been involved with PvP in general this patch than before. But yeah, that is all I have for today. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and have a great day.